Hello, everyone, and thank you for watching this next video. Okay, so here we are back in pre-calculus, and with this video, we're going to dive further into the topic of exploring radians. Well, actually, this particular video is going to focus on trigonometric functions, and it is a part of the overall objective or I should say, aim to understand radians of the unit circle. But this particular video, the objective is to explore trigonometric functions. So, okay, now we're going to use ratios, okay, to dive into that topic. Well, what is a ratio? A ratio is a comparison of two or more items using numbers, such as 1 to 2 or 4 to 8. For instance, if you were to go into a grocery store and you see 3 onions, okay, and you see 4 potatoes, well, what is the ratio of onions to potatoes? Well, actually, I should say, what is the ratio of potatoes to onions? And again, if you see 3 onions and 4 potatoes, well, the ratio is 4 to 3. I said that on purpose just to help you notice that, or I should say, I flipped it on purpose to help remind you to pay attention when answering a question, especially in mathematics, because the language can be very tricky. So anyway, so we're going to use ratios of our special triangles to understand the unit circle better. So the first thing we need to do here is I want to go ahead and delineate the screen here, the parts of this graph. Okay, and what we have is the coordinate plane grid. We have the x-axis, which is the horizontal line going from left to right. And then we have the y-axis, which is the vertical line going north and south, up and down. So in the center, we have a coordinate pair. Well, in the center, we have the vertex. Okay, and in pre-calculus, the vertex of any angle is always going to be at the center origin, okay, of the Cartesian plane. And so at the center, we have the vertex, okay, and its coordinate pair is 0, 0. Now, the first thing I want to do is go ahead and name the 6 trigonometric functions. And again, trigonometric functions are very important to pre-calculus. In fact, they are the hallmarks of trigonometry. Okay, and of course, trigonometry and pre-calculus are tied together. They're intricate parts of each other. So they are basically like the same thing with very minor differences between the two. But anyway, trigonometric functions. So we have 6, and what I'm going to do is type them so you can see them on the screen here. Okay, number 1, we have the sine function. Okay, number 2, is cosine. Number 3 is sine, cosine, and tangent. Come on, fingers, get it together. Okay, so now I'm going to change the color here, change it to what is that, pink, purple? Okay, number 4, secant, or cosecant. Sorry. Then number 5 is cosine. Wait, I'm sorry. Cosecant and then secant. That's right. And then number 6 is cotangent. Okay, so we have 6 trigonometric functions. The first one is called sine. The second is cosine. Third, tangent. Fourth is cosecant. The fifth is cosecant. And the sixth trigonometric function is cotangent. So how we learn how to remember these is by, first of all, we need to see a visual of a right triangle. Okay, so let me go ahead and erase this right here just because I need the space. Okay, and I'm going to use a straight line here, drawing tool. Okay, now let's say the angle that we're going to explore is this angle right here. Let me just do that a little bit better because okay, and we'll call this angle theta. Why am I using theta? Well, because that's just what is normally used in pre-calculus and trigonometry to serve as a symbol for angle. Okay, I think it was used by the ancient Greeks. So for thousands of years now, theta has been used in mathematics to stand for an angle. But I could call the angle A or angle B or Z or whatever, but I'm just trying to stick with mathematics tradition here using, again, theta. It's so hard to draw with a mouse. T, H, wow, E, T, A, theta. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Hello. You just erase it. All right. So now here is how we remember these names and what they mean, what they represent. Okay. So the angle where the theta is the angle that we're studying. That's the angle we're going to be finding the trigonometric functions of that angle. Okay, so from the perspective of the angle, meaning if you were to get like inside of a box and look outward from the angle, okay, what is opposite? What is on the other side of the angle? Okay, well, I said opposite with emphasis for a reason. Let me use green letters. Actually, OPP with a capital O. Okay, so we have opposite. And then if you've been studying math for a couple of years, you should know by now that this side of a triangle is called a hypotenuse. Now, because Americans don't usually like to pronounce the letter T, actually, yeah, it is a thing that us Americans do. We tend to change the letter T to a D sound, hypotenuse. Well, in this case, it's not changed to the letter D, it's just kind of ignored. And maybe the Brits do that as well. So it might not be just tied to American culture. But anyway, hypotenuse, however you want to pronounce it. Anyway, hypotenuse. So I learned this in elementary school. The longest side of a triangle is what we call the hypotenuse, okay? So it's just something you need to remember. Now, the angle that's adjacent means next to. What is the angle that's next to? Well, of course, you have two sides next to the angle, but we already have named one side, and we call that the hypotenuse. So there's only one side that's left that's next to the angle that we're studying, and that's the angle on the bottom here. We call that the adjacent angle. So I'm going to use my text function to write. Let me bring it down just a bit. I might want to change the color to black. Adjacent. Should make the A capitalized, like I made the O capitalized. Anyway, so we have opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. So here's how I remember sine. Sine, number one. Oh wait, no, I'm not going to try to do this with my mouse because that's going to turn out sloppy. So I'll type here. So the sine is equal to the opposite over, you got to get used to all the switching back and forth, opposite over the, okay, maybe I can just go a little bit slower. It won't turn out so sloppy. Okay, we usually abbreviate because it's better to abbreviate. Otherwise, you'll have long lines and we're trying to be efficient, which in this case means being quick as possible while, being slow enough to make sure we don't make any mistakes. So we abbreviate. So anyway, sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. So what is the sine of angle theta? The sine of angle theta is, let's just say this side right here is 14 feet high, okay? And let's just say this side over here is 27 feet, the hypotenuse. Let's just say that's 27 feet. I don't know if that's scale or to scale or what. I'm just throwing out random numbers. If I say, what is the sine of angle? Okay, and instead of calling it angle theta, let's call it angle B. Okay, what is the sine of angle B? The sine of angle B in this case is 14 over 27. So let me write that down. The sine. Oh, and another thing in Pre-Calculus and Trigonometry, sine is, well, all of the abbreviations are abbreviated to 3 letters at the max. So even though sine is spelled S-I-N-E, we still abbreviate it down to S-I-N. So what is the sine of angle B? The sine of angle B is, well, what is the opposite? 14 over, what is the hypotenuse? 27. Okay. That's just whole numbers. Now, if you were looking for a decimal, you would divide 14 by 27, and it'll be like 0 point something, 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 whatever. But if you just want to use whole numbers, you just leave it at 14 over 27. Now, I'm going to stop the video here because I don't want to make the video so long. I'm going to do them into different sections. But this is just to introduce how we break down the formulas of the trigonometric functions. It's not a formula, but how we form the right ratios using these labels, opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent, to explore the trigonometric functions. So in the next videos, we'll talk about cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. Now, in sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse. And then tangent is opposite over adjacent. Okay. And then the cosecant is the it's the reciprocal of the sine. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. And cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. Okay, so like I said, in the next video, we will explore more of this. So again, thanks everyone for watching this video. We'll explore more about the trigonometric functions in the next video. My name is Hurley Taylor, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now. Thanks everyone.